6-7 operations with functions. When we're working with operations of functions, they're giving us more than one function. We're either adding the two, subtracting the two, multiplying, or dividing the two. So when we're doing this, we're literally working with the expression part of the function. So for example 1, they give us that f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 4x minus 6, and g of x is equal to 2x minus 2. And for a, they want us to find f plus g of x. So that just means we're going to add f of x and g of x together. So f plus g of x is equal to 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 plus 2x minus 2. So in this case, we are just combining like terms. So the 4x and the 2x combine. This is going to leave us with f plus g of x is equal to 2x squared plus 6x, and then the negative 6 minus 2 gives us negative 8. So minus 8. For b, we have f minus g of x. So again, we're going to subtract these two. When we do this, we're going to put a subtraction sign in front of the 2x minus 2, so we're going to have to distribute that in to the 2x minus 2. So f minus g of x is equal to 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 minus, put parentheses, 2x minus 2. Close off your parentheses. Now distribute that negative. So you're going to change the sign on everything. It is a good idea to rewrite this to where we have f minus g of x is equal to 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 minus 2x plus 2. So we're going to combine like terms here. We're going to be left with f minus g of x is equal to 2x squared. The 4x minus 2x is a positive 2x, and the negative 6 plus 2 is a negative 4. So 2x squared plus 2x minus 4. For our next part, we are given that f of x is equal to 5x minus 6, and g of x is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 6. So first we want to find f plus g of x. So f plus g of x is equal to 5x minus 6 plus x squared minus 5x plus 6. We're going to combine like terms here. We're going to have f plus g of x is equal to x squared. The 5x minus 5x cancel out, and the negative 6 plus x6 cancels out, so it's just x squared. For f minus g of x, we are going to have the 5x minus 6 minus parentheses x squared minus 5x plus 6. We are going to distribute that negative, so it's going to change the sign on all three of those last terms to give us f minus g of x is equal to 5x minus 6 minus x squared plus 5x minus 6. So the first thing we're going to write down is that f minus g of x. The highest exponent that we have is that negative x squared, so we're going to put that first. Then we have 5x plus 5x, which is 10x, and then negative 6 minus 6 is negative 12. So f minus g of x is equal to negative x squared plus 10x minus 12. For our next set, we have f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 4x minus 6, and g of x is equal to 2x minus 2. For a, we're doing g times f of x. So we're going to multiply g of x times f of x. So g times f of x is going to equal the 2x minus 2 times 2x squared plus 4x minus 6. We're going to FOIL this in, or distribute this in. So g of f of x is equal to 2x times 2x squared is 2x cubed. 2x times 4x is 8x squared. 2x times negative 6 is negative 12x. The negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x squared. The negative 2 times 4x is negative 8x. And negative 2 times negative 6 is a positive 12. We're going to combine like terms. This is going to give us g times f of x is equal to 2x cubed. The 8x squared minus 4x squared is a positive 4x squared. The negative 12x minus 8x is a negative 20x. And then that plus 12 gets dropped down as well. For b, we have f divided by g of x. So f divided by g of x is equal to f of x is 2x squared plus 4x minus 6. The bottom here is 2x minus 2. So we can factor here that 2x minus 2 is 2 times x minus 1. And then the top of that factors out to be 2x plus 6, which is going to be 2 times, let's do this a different way, 2 times x plus 3 times x minus 1 all over 2 times x minus 1. So these 2's are going to cancel out. Same thing with the x minus 1's. So we're just going to have f of g of x is equal to x plus 3. For a, in example 4, we're doing f times g of x, where f of x is x plus 2, and g of x is x squared minus 4. So we are going to have f times g of x is equal to x plus 2 times x squared minus 4. We're going to FOIL x times x squared times g of x is equal. X times x squared is x cubed. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. The 2 times x squared is positive 2x squared, and the 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So we're going to put this in standard form here. We're going to have f times g of x is equal to x cubed plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8. For b, we have g over f times of x, So this is going to be g divided by f of x is equal to x squared minus 4 all over x plus 2. We're going to put parentheses around the bottom. We're going to FOIL the top. The top FOILs out to be x minus 2 times x plus 2 all over x plus 2. So g over f of x is equal to just x minus 2. For the next part of our lesson, we are dealing with composite functions and evaluating them. So what this is telling us is to plug in a number 4x, solve for that equation, then plug it into the other. So if we look at example 5, we're given that f of x is equal to 3x plus 1 and g of x is equal to x cubed. For a, we're finding f of g of 2. So we're plugging this 2 in for x and g of x. So this is going to be f of g of x, which is x cubed. So that's going to be 2 cubed, which is 2 cubed is 8. So then find f of 8. So plug that in to the 3x plus 1. So this is going to be f of g of 2 is equal to 3 times 8 plus 1. 3 times 8 is 24. 24 plus 1 is going to give us f of g of 2 is equal to 25. For B, we have g of f of 2. So now first we're going to plug in that 2, find f of 2. So that's going to be f of x is 3x plus 1. So that's going to be plugged in for the x, solved. F of 2 is equal to 3 times 2 plus 1, which 3 times 2 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7. So f of 2 is 7, replace the 7 in g of 7 and find that. So this is just going to be 7 cubed. So g of f of 2 is equal to 7 cubed, which is 49 times 7, which is 343. So g of f of 2 is equal to 343. For example 6, we have f of x is equal to 2x minus 3, and g of x is equal to x squared. First, we are going to find f of g of 3. So we're going to do first g of 3. That's going to be 3 squared, which is 9. So now replace the 9 with the g of 3. So we're going to do f of 9. So we're going to plug in 9, and 2 times 9 minus 3. So we're going to rewrite this of f of g of 3 is equal to 18 minus 3. So f of g of 3 is equal to 15. For B, we have g of f of 3. So first find f of 3. F was 2x minus 3, so 2 times 3 minus 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3. So plug that in and find g of 3. So g was x squared, so it's going to be 3 squared. So g of f of 3 is equal to 3 squared, which is 9. Sometimes you are going to have fractions involved with these. When you do that, you have to make sure you give me what x cannot equal to. So if you have a variable in the denominator, you have to make sure that you give me what that variable cannot equal to. So if we look at our first example here for this part, we have f of x, which is 5x plus 2. So once again, we have f of x, which is 5x plus 2. We have g of x, which is 2 over x minus 1. We are finding f of g of x, and we are stating the domain of each of these. So first, take the g of x, plug it in for x and f of x. That's all it means. So taking g of x, which is 2, we're really doing f of 2 over x minus 1. So that's going to be 5 times 2 over x minus 1 plus 2. 5 times the 2 over x minus 1 is going to be 10 over x minus 1 plus 2, or 2 over 1. We'd have to multiply that 1 by x minus 1 to make it like denominators. So this is going to give us f of g of x is equal to 10 plus 2 times x is 2x, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, all over x minus 1, which is our denominator. Now from here you can say that from this, x cannot equal what? Well, we don't want 0 in the denominator, so x cannot equal 1 here. X minus 1 is not equal to 0. Move the 1 over. By adding it, x cannot equal 1. So when we simplify this, the 10 minus 2 is 8. So f of g of x is equal to 2x plus 8 all over x minus 1. Now, if you wanted to simplify this 2x plus 8 and factor it, you could. You don't have to, though, because if you factor it out, you just have 2 times x plus 4, and x plus 4 and x minus 1 do not cancel out. So you can just leave it like that and make sure you give me that x cannot equal that negative 1. Or, sorry, positive 1. X cannot equal 1. For b, we have g of f of x. So we're plugging f of x, which is the 5x plus 2, into g of x. So this is going to be 2 over x minus 1. Well, x is 5x plus 2, and then we subtract the 1 from that. So 5x minus 2, 5x plus 2 minus 1, we are going to have 5x minus 1. So g of f of x is equal to 2 over 5x plus 1. Now take that 5x plus 1, set it not equal to 0, we get that x cannot equal negative 1/5 as well. For our next example, we have f of x, which is 3x minus 4, and g of x, which is the square root of x plus 2. So we're first going to find f of g of x. So g of x is x, the square root of x plus 2. We're going to plug that in for x in f of x. So f of the square root of x plus 2 is what we're really finding. So this is going to be 3 times the square root of x plus 2 minus 4. So f of g of x is equal to 3 square root x plus 6 minus 4. The 6 minus 4 is 2, so this f of g of x is equal to 3 square root x plus 2. Now, think about this. Your exponent, or your variable, is underneath the radical. What can you not take the square root of? Any negative number. So x has to be anything greater than 0 or equal to 0. You can take the square root of 0, so it's x has to be greater than or equal to 0. For b, we have g of f of x. So this is the same thing as saying g of 3x minus 4. So you're plugging the 3x minus 4 into that function of g of x. So this is going to be the square root of x, which is 3x minus 4 plus 2. We can't go any further with this, so g of f of x is equal to the square root of 3x minus 4 plus 2. Now, how do you know what x cannot equal? Well, look at the term underneath the radical. Underneath the radical, you have that 3x minus 4. So 3x minus 4 has to be greater than or equal to 0 here. Move the 4 over, add it to both sides. We have 3x is greater than or equal to 4, divide by 3. X has to be greater than or equal to 4/3. So that's also part of our answer. So when we write our answer for this, it would just be g of f of x is equal to the square root of 3x minus 4 plus 2, where x is greater than or equal to 4/3.